Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Ooh, welcome back to the 3-0 Take presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 444. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin. I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
444. Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome back. Before you get too in love with our voices, make sure you pop over to YouTube. We got some goals to accomplish. I'm going to need you to help us in that area. Go do your thing. Click some buttons. Make sure you get your notifications on. Come hang out with us. When we go live, pop into the chat. Just come hang out. That's it. That's all I need. That's all I'm asking for. It's a simple thing.
You can come hang with the boys 2 times a week. We're here every week, twice, talking baseball. I mean, what would you rather be doing?
What else is there? That's what I want to know. What else is there?
Well, I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot.
Not as
here.
important.
I don't want to call you out.
Oh, no.
I don't want to call you out, but you can't in one breath sit here and say, well, I mean, what's better than talking baseball when this weekend for you?
Just when I thought we were in a safe space.
Just
you
when I thought we were in a safe space. Hey, no, actually, it's actually...
This is not a safe space.
I'm not going to say what you told me. I'll leave it up to you to share as much or as little as you'd like about how this weekend went for you. But when you first told me that, I thought, this actually might be a good opportunity to address the dog days of summer, as it were, and see maybe if we're at kind of get a pulse on whether the viewers, the listeners are reaching that same point as you with their respective teams. So maybe open us up here. And,
that's fair. Maybe there's
bring
some
light
ground.
To it.
Yeah. Well, I'm in a dark place with my team. It's been a tough week. I've seen this movie before. This is like the very much unwanted 5th version of this. I don't know. So I'm struggling, and I decided let's just take a little break. I felt pretty heated at moments this week. I didn't want that anymore. I needed to find my happiness elsewhere. So I decided not to watch any Yankees games this weekend. First time in a while that I've gone. I watched the first couple innings, maybe 3-4 innings on Friday when Chris Sale made them look stupid, and I don't know, man. It just I unplugged. It's kind of nice. I don't know if we're gonna be okay. I don't think we are. I'm not saying this isn't I'm not saying they're, a terrible team. It's just the issues that I knew were issues. I was thinking of that, that meme where it's the Billy Mays guy, slapping the flex tape on the tank of water, yeah. Right? Except the tank of water has a lot more holes than that. And the tank of water is the Yankees roster. And the flex tape is Juan Soto. Just smacking and plugging this hole and pretending that the other holes don't exist. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with this. And maybe this gives me an opportunity to appreciate other baseball, other teams, other players. It gives me a chance to soak in and appreciate what is happening around the league. So maybe that's what I'll start doing. Maybe I'll turn my alerts off and ignore Yankee updates. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe you could do what I did this weekend and just do a little digging around and maybe stumble across some baseball history that you otherwise had no idea about.
Scared for this right now. I really am.
Are you aware of this backstory? How much or how little did you know about Marge Schott?
0%. If there was it's like -%. I don't know anything. This is insane.
Yeah, it's I mean, I'm ashamed. Like people, I posted this screenshot of a Reddit post. There's a backstory here, but I posted a screenshot of this Reddit post about former Cincinnati Reds owner Marge Schott, and it was I can read it here for you. It says, today I learned Cincinnati Reds owner Marge Schott was annoyed after her team swept the Oakland Athletics in 4 games in the 1990 World Series because it denied her revenue from a Game 5. She refused to pay for any post-game celebration for the team, and the Reds celebrated on their own with hamburgers. This was brought to me. So Meredith and I went to the beach this weekend with some friends, and so I'm sitting there talking to one of our friends, and he was like, yeah. He's like, I'm not much of a baseball fan, but I follow this account on Reddit today. I learned, and like every now and then there's some like sports stuff on there. And he goes, "Have you heard about this?" I go, "No. Like, what is it?" He showed me the post, and it was this thing about Marge Schott, and I'm like, "That's insane." And he goes, "Yeah, might want to look into that a little bit." And so I post the graphic hoping to get some feedback from some people, and boy, did I ever. I was unaware how many people knew about Marge Schott. I don't think I'd ever heard the name. And
I
people
hadn't either.
People were reaching out to me, and
when was she the owner? Was there like a time period?
Let me see here. She was the owner from 68 to 99.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long ride. Okay. Well, I full hand up accountability here. Did not know, but I'm on the edge of my seat right now.
Well, these people, like I had some people hitting us up, like they're replying to the post, like in the DMs, whatever, and they were like, dude, this isn't even the tip of the iceberg. Like you just wait until you find out more about this woman. I go, I legitimately had no idea. So I do a little deep diving around, and turns out that this lady was a what did I say? A Nazi sympathizer or whatever.
Yeah.
Like a supporter of the Nazi party and a supporter of the Adolf Hitler activities from back in the day. Had no clue. Somebody reached out to me and said, yeah, she actually got booted from baseball. Like, that's how bad she was. And I go, I think,
I don't know. It's hard to say booted when your reign of terror lasted for 25 years.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, her controversies page on Wikipedia is longer than the rest of the entry on her Wikipedia page. Racism, the revenue thing I was telling you about earlier, the Nazi sympathizing, sanctions and forced retirement. It's crazy.
That picture of her too that you posted, I'm like, I see it. You
It brought out the worst in people, man. Like one of the comments on Facebook, and I figured that was going to be where I was going to get the brunt of the comments in regards to this. People were like, she looks like a human cigarette. And they, in response to that screenshot talking about the team celebrating with hamburgers on their own, they're like, yeah, this was actually like the nicest thing she did. I'm like, that says a lot about this woman. I told somebody that I was ashamed that it took me this long to find out.
I'm a little embarrassed. Yeah.
Like there's still so much, I still need to do some more reading, but I
think people complaining about Steinbrenner need to need to maybe do a little more research because this is next level, dude.
Apparently, she didn't. This was just hearsay based on what some comments are saying, but apparently, she didn't pay for like medical bills and like flights back from hospitals to Cincinnati for some. I think maybe it was like Eric Davis or maybe somebody else. Just insane. Like,
what, dude? What?
Just all sorts of racist comments. Unreal. And then so the friend that we're hanging out with this weekend, he's like, you need to just do like this offseason, you need to do a deep dive, like a series into the worst owners of baseball. And the light bulb went off and I was like, I feel like this has to be something we do. Man. It says I think
it's important. I think we gotta, educate ourselves.
It said she would let her dogs have free reign of Riverfront Stadium, allowing them to poop on the field.
Dude, what? The Reds have been through a lot, man. I think.
The Reds have
been through more than what I thought. Man.
Stuff. Yeah, I'll spare you all the details, but just know that this woman.
What's her name again? Nancy?
Marge Schott.
Marge.
Or Scott. I think it's Schott. Crazy. Insane. But anyway, yeah, that was my weekend. I learned a lot about Marge Schott. This weekend, we also saw the return of Max Scherzer, who, as we very well know, had not pitched since...
Boom.
What?
Episode title. Did you already title it?
Boom! Yep, Max Scherzer returns.
That's a really missed opportunity. Return of the Max? Instead of Return of the Mac?
Return of the Max.
You know Return of the Mac. Return of the Mac. Return of the Mac.
You have to understand. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. I just got this email notification.
I told you I was cooking something up before the episode.
About a little finagling that Nate Reyes is doing in the fantasy league.
There's no finagling.
This guy, I swear, man, Nate acts more in the weeds than he acts out more in the weeds than most people that I know, man. Like, I'm not going to call him a snake, but I don't know of many other critters out there that act out in the weeds as much as they do. So he's out here swindling. He's out here bamboozling.
I cooked that up in less than 3 minutes because that's how long we had during our little intro video.
Unreal. Anyway,
I got another one that I might accept. I'm not sure.
Not relevant to what we're talking about here. We're talking about Max Scherzer, who, as I was saying, had not pitched since last year's World Series, which was an outing that, if you recall, was pulled from with back tightness. And I don't remember exactly how our conversation went, but it was probably something along the lines of like, this seems pretty much on brand for Max at this point in his career. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, his comments following today's outing, albeit a very good outing, again, very on brand for Max. He said that the nerve issue is in his throwing arm is still a thing. Doesn't really, I mean, it's sort of what you would expect him to say, but just the fact that you hear it, like, you can't, Rangers fans probably couldn't even enjoy the start that they got from Max. He went 5 innings, allowed 1 hit, no walks, no earned runs, had 4 strikeouts. They probably couldn't even enjoy it all but for maybe 5 minutes, because after the game, he was given his post-game presser, and he said, yeah, this thing is still an issue. I don't really know how my arm's going to respond to this start. And if you're a Rangers fan, you're going, okay, so are we going to be right back in this situation? Like, in a matter of weeks, days even? Like, I don't know. I mean, the man's 40.
Yeah.
What do we take away from this? More importantly, how much of a boost, if at all, is this for a Rangers team who's kind of dangling around 500 right now?
It doesn't feel like that much of a boost. It doesn't. Like, I get that the name Max Scherzer holds a lot of weight. But full transparency, I wasn't aware of him coming back until, 5 minutes before he started the game. Like, I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain names where they're like, hey, guess who's coming back? Like, everyone tune in for this. And like, it didn't really pull any news. I didn't get any updates about it. It just doesn't do much for me. And I'm starting to believe like the back tightness being very Kershaw-esque type IL manipulation. You know what I mean? Who's going to question a 40-year-old with a tight back? I'm 31 and I could go on the IL for the same thing and no one would bat an eye. I don't know, man. It's a very disappointing team, but here's the thing, man, is that like, and this is why we got to remember, we gotta just remind ourselves of how long the season is and what these teams can do when they get hot at the right time. And for a roster like this, you can imagine they could get hot at the right time. They're capable of it. But this just is another example as to why repeating is almost impossible in the game of baseball. Repeating is insane. It's incredibly difficult. There's so much of your off season that's robbed from everything. You know what I mean? Going on podcasts, going on MLB Network, going on, talk shows. It's like you're world champion, and it takes over in many ways. So a hangover is very normal.
I don't know. Even to this day, I still don't feel like the Rangers World Series title last year had much fanfare. Like just not so much the title itself, but the route to get there, the journey to get there, the way it was done, the teams they beat.
Yeah.
And as we know, the World Series itself, I don't know if that was maybe a good thing for them in regards to their hopes of maybe repeating. And I'm not sitting here saying that the Rangers are at the top of my list in the conversation for team I think it's going to win the World Series this year. But I'm just saying, in that clubhouse, I would venture to say that's what they're playing for. Mm-hmm. So if there is any element of truth to that, then it's like maybe they're a little bit better off than a team that had won the title in years past, where maybe it did carry a little bit more of an actual, authentic, genuine hangover because of the nature of the games they played, the teams they played, so on and so forth. I don't know. Just speculation. But the reality of it is,
I'll say you look good.
Yeah. Yeah. You look good. The Rangers as a team are 37-40 right now, 6.5 back in the division, 4.5 back in the wild card race. Max and really the rotation as a whole. I mean, it's well known they're pretty they've been banged up across the games they played thus far, but as we've talked about, that's not really different from majority of other teams out there. So you can't exactly put them in any sort of special conversation because everyone's dealing with,
right,
I would say, a moderate amount of injuries. I won't say majority, but a healthy amount, moderate amount of injuries.
It's just tread water. You know what I mean? If you're a Rangers fan, like that's all this is. Tread water. Find a way to have 87, 88 wins when it's all said and done, and get your way in somehow. Never know.
Well, we bring up Max Scherzer and the Rangers only to follow up with news of the Astros sweeping the Orioles this weekend. A team in the Astros that's I'm not going to say we told you so, but
we did tell you so.
We did tell you so. I mean, look, game one, you can just look at game one of that series. Adley had a 5-hit game. Gunnar had 2 bombs. Grayson had 8 Ks. The Orioles as a team had 18 hits. And they still lost.
Yeah.
This is the kind of game that the Astros are playing right now. Like, you can't even send the Orioles, like, as well as the Orioles have been playing this year. They've had their slip ups from time to time, but generally speaking, the Orioles have been playing very well this year. They go into Houston, Astros say, head back the way it came from.
Yeah.
You will not find any wins here.
Say what you will about that Yankees series, but I think Orioles fans can admit that, like, their bullpen got beat up. They got exhausted from that series. So I wasn't surprised of the amount of runs that they gave up on Friday. Weird game. Weird defensive blusters and just weird stuff kind of happened. But yeah, man, I'm not at all surprised. And it's not like the Astros got the bottom half of that rotation this series either. I mean, they got Grayson and they got Corbin. So it's like, put some respect on the Astros, man. I told you this was coming. We all knew this was coming. Well, maybe not all of us.
We talked about recently how who was it? Who did the Orioles get swept by recently to snap the regular season sweepless streak? Was it Philly?
I feel like it was Philly, but I don't think it was. I think Philly took 2 out of 3.
I can't remember. Either way, just the second time that they've been swept this season. It was the Cardinals.
Cardinals swept them?
Yeah.
You're positive on that?
Back in May. It was last month. It was like a month ago, actually.
You're feeling good on that?
I feel great about it. It was Cardinals. It was that late May series. Go ahead and confirm. Tell me what I already know.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. Enough about the Orioles, though. Let's talk. Let's pivot to looking at the trajectory of the Astros here.
Strokes.
They've won, correct me if I'm wrong, 5 straight.
You're not wrong.
And they have I read that they have a chance at, well, it's not that I read, it's common sense. They're 38-40 right now. They have a chance to get back to 500 ball by the end of the homestand.
Yeah. I mean, this was coming, dude. This is a roster you can't hold down. And you got guys like starting to figure it out. It looks like Yainer Diaz is starting to hit. It looks like Bregman's starting to wake up. Altuve is starting to wake up. You're getting, more production out of Hunter Brown. Like, Framber looked good this weekend. Like, there's a lot that it seems like it's starting to level out to normalcy for that team. Hader's been looking good lately. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all the guys that they have relied on or wanting to come through have come through at this point in the last few weeks. So they're coming. And it's not like that division is out of reach. You know what I mean?
No, they're
right there.
They're 6 games back, and they took off 4 games of the Mariners' lead in the last 5 days. 4 games in 5 days they cut.
Oh, boy.
And they're
That's
only
crazy.
6 games back now. And 6 games back is nothing at the end of June.
Yeah.
I told you this was coming. I told you.
I don't know. I'm not an Mariners believer, unfortunately. Like, I want to get on board. I don't see it. A good ball club. I just don't see like they got the run in them.
But like that's what I'm saying though, is like, even if you're not in 2024 with the way that the Astros started off their season, even if you're not an Astros believer, with this division, you kind of have to be an Astros believer by default.
Yeah.
And I get it. I get it. The Rangers are still the defending champions. I'll give them that respect. I get that. But when we're talking about the division, when we're talking about an almost surefire shoe-in for the ALCS, history has been on the side of the Astros. That's the reality of it. So with, as we mentioned, a team that's banged up like the Rangers, we're specifically looking at the rotation. I mean, you got some guys in the lineup as well. They've been banged up, but the way that the Astros are playing right now, it's just repetition at this point. It's routine at this point. Even if they struggle, they get hot and they make you forget about every struggle they had, because at the end of the day, when the dust settles at the end of the season, they're going to be the ones that are in the conversation. That's the reality of it. So yeah, big weekend for the Stros, sweeping the O's. Hey-o. Just call me Dr. Seuss.
I like that. That's pretty good.
Wrapping up that point though, panic level with the O's after a series like that, not too worried.
Seen a little time.
So it's less about the O's and more about what the Astros are kind of doing right now.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's no reason to be worried about. You talked about like Grayson, like it wasn't the best game, but like, you know, punching out 8. They're still really solid. I would for sure expect the Orioles to be in the mix of half the league. It seems to be hunting for relievers and trying to find some depth in the back end. There's absolutely zero concern. They're just really, really good. They're really good.
You know who else is really good?
Don't do it.
I'm not doing it. False line.
I just got pumped.
Paul Skenes is really good. I'm going to read you this tweet from Jeff Passan.
Okay.
And I want you to give me your immediate reaction, your immediate thoughts. You may have already seen it. In fact, I think I already sent this to you, but I want you to hear it again. Jeff Passan. Paul Skenes, in response to Paul Skenes' outing today. Paul Skenes was sitting at 100 miles an hour in the 7th inning and finished off his day by blowing a 102-mile-an-hour fastball by Alex Jackson. His numbers through 8 big league starts: 47 in the 3rd innings, 38 hits, 8 walks, 61 strikeouts, 5 home runs, an ERA of 2.15. MLB needs to get him to the All-Star game. Thoughts?
I concur. I love the way the guy trains. And I don't know if you've seen like the way he warms up and like his routine before a start with like the weighted backpack.
The backpack,
and like the torso turns, both from like as a lefty perspective, as a righty perspective, throws the football. Like there's a lot. He does that like weird, like behind the back scap stretch, like weighted ball thing. So I love the fact that like we see velocity, but it doesn't give you that like empty the tank everything I have to get to this velocity. This is like I've got a big body and I'm treating it well, and it's coming effortlessly kind of velocity. Like it feels like it can be sustained. It feels like he can keep this going and stay healthy. It seems like he trains well, and that's what really excites me about this. But we need to really truly understand it's not normal for guys to come into the league like this. This is not normal. Like, I understand that we're used to really good pitching, and we've heard this Paul Skenes name over and over and over. And like, it's not like he's coming in under the radar. We understand what he is, but I don't think we're like truly appreciating what he's doing. I don't think we're like soaking it in that this is not normal. This is crazy good. I think his worst start was probably his first start. I could be wrong there, but like, the dude has just been lights out. He fills up the zone. He's truly commanding 4 pitches pretty often. And he keeps the ball in the ballpark, and he's willing to challenge anybody. And like, yes, for sure needs to be in the All-Star game. It has to happen.
And I think with the narrative that has continued to evolve surrounding the All-Star game, you and I have talked about this at length, but with just the joke that the All-Star game is turning into, more so, less regarding the game itself, because as we've talked about, guys still have to go out there and play, and like, that's fun to watch. You watch, I won't say all, but a majority of the game's best to go out there and play an exhibition. I love that. It's more about the names that get in. We've talked about this. We don't need to dive into that again. But like, if this is where we're at with the voting process, and I know that I pose that question all the time, but I think the reality of it is that this is just unfortunately where we're at, where it's a popularity contest. And I have people say all the time, it's always been a popularity contest. No, because people actually had sense about them when they were filling out their ballots. And I know this is probably going to date us a little bit, but like, even like when we were kids, they were still using like the hanging chad, like the paper punch ballots that you would punch like at the ballpark when you go to watch your team.
Right.
But because
I remember like even after that, it was like the Scantron
fill in your circles and all that. Yeah. But ever since the marketing efforts have been overhauled by these teams, where it's just like blind ballot or whatever, straight ballot, your favorite team, we're going to push these guys in even if they don't belong. That has been more of a recent development than people are saying that it's been, because they're making it out to sound like that's been the case for years, like forever. And it's like, no, people could actually look at a ballot and go, I think based on the numbers, this guy, and this guy should be in, even though they don't play for my favorite team. That's no longer a thing. It's just popularity contest.
Remove names. I wish they would just take names off of it.
Yeah. That's not a bad approach.
I'm not in love with like every guy needs to be represented, like, or every team needs to be represented. Like, we're to that point where it's like, that doesn't matter anymore. I don't know. It's just, I think you could really flip this thing on its head if you wanted to.
So basically what I'm saying with that though is like, if this is the reality of the All-Star game, then if you look at a guy like Paul Skenes, who maybe some people might make the argument, well, he's only had 8 starts. Like, can we really put a guy in that only has 8 starts versus some of these other guys who have, a handful more? My response to that would be, why does it matter? If we're putting guys into the All-Star game, right, that statistically,
why is that where we draw the line?
Yeah, forget about sample size, forget about innings pitched, forget about ABs, plate appearances, whatever. Like, if this is where we're at, it doesn't matter. Yeah. At this point, give me Give me the headliners. Give me a Paul Skenes. Give me a Mason Miller. Give me. I know I've gone on my rant for this guy already, but like give me a guy like Jarren Duran who has more total bases. And I know I keep fixating on the total bases thing, but that's like my fixation right now is getting Jarren Duran to the All-Star game.
You're not wrong.
Get the guys who are like bringing the electricity to the sport. Get those guys into the All-Star game. Paul Skenes is one of those guys, regardless of the fact that he's only had 8 stars.
Yeah. And what I love is I like Paul Skenes just, it seems, he gives me like the, I don't care that this is an exhibition game kind of thing. I'm still going to light your ass up. You know what I mean? Like that's like, it just seems like there is no flip off switch. Like that switch is on when he's on the mound, and that's what the All-Star game desperately needs. And these are the matchups of why the All-Star game is what it is and what it needs to be focused on again. I don't care about the in-game interviews. I don't care about the jerseys. Go back to like guys being on the same field where we don't get to see it. That's not a normal thing. Show me that, not what they're wearing showing up to the ballpark or who's on their arm, or like I just need crazy good matchups. Paul Skenes' name became popular amongst casuals and even non-baseball fans with that Ohtani matchup alone. Like that can happen again. Give him an inning where he's facing Gunnar or Adley or Judge, like guys that you probably won't get an opportunity to face. Like I'm not saying he's going to start the game. I'm not saying he's going to get multiple innings. He's probably only going to get 1 inning if he does make it. But like man, that is literally what the All-Star game is. Lock in on that matchup, that play, that AB, that opportunity. That's what it's about. And it would be a big mistake for him to not be eligible. Stupid.
Name that player.
Retired or active?
Retired.
Hall of Fame, no Hall of Fame.
No Hall of Fame.
Oh boy. Debut after 2000.
Nope.
Debut after 1990.
Yes.
Okay. One or multiple teams?
Multiple.
Infielder, outfielder?
Infield.
Third base?
No.
Shortstop?
Yes.
Okay. AL, NL, or is it both?
Both.
Multiple time All-Star?
Yes.
Gold Glove?
Yes.
Really,
You know the rules. No questions.
Really
no more questions.
Didn't narrow anything down here. Oh boy. Okay. So multiple teams debuted after 1990.
If you get this, I will be very
AL,
impressed.
NL. Shortstop, Gold Glove, multiple time All-Star. Not a Hall of Famer. This is crazy. Oh, man. Debuted before 2000, but after 1990.
You do that. You do some thinking. I'm going to play around with the soundboard a little bit.
I don't know, man. It's a shot in the dark. It's a total shot in the dark. Give me Edgar Renteria.
Dude,
No way.
how did you do that? What was your line of thinking?
None. I legit had none. I just remembered a guy that was pretty good. He played for both AL and NL teams.
Wow. Well done.
Oh, let's go. That's huge.
Well done.
That's huge. I promise you, there's nothing I could look up. You guys heard the questions. Didn't even really narrow it down that much.
It really the purpose of this game at the end is to just take the best, or the strategy, I should say. The strategy of the end of the countdown is to just take your best shot in the dark, because
Yeah.
I don't think you've gotten it down to the point where you've narrowed it down to the point between like one or two people. You're just taking shots in the dark, and
The
that was a good
non-Hall
one.
of Famers,
That was a good one.
the non-Hall of Famers, and then the multiple teams make things challenging. Those
sure.
two, like, it keeps things broad, and there's no like follow-up question to narrow it down more than that. Oh, that felt good. That was a good one. I loved Edgar Renteria, dude. I was a huge fan of his game. Huge fan. I don't know what it was about him that I just like. I loved watching him play.
I just had a thought. I feel like we need to start doing, because not that, what do we have to gain from like colluding on something like this? But for transparency purposes, I feel like we need to, I need to start having you like take your headphones off, and then I just drop like one of these numbers, like Edgar Renteria. That way people are aware of like what's going on, like making sure we stay above board here. And then,
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Maybe they like playing along though. Maybe
they like playing along.
Maybe they like playing along. So maybe
I do want to mix in that same thing where you got to like say the same player at the same time.
Yes. Yeah, maybe we could try that later this week.
That one seems fun. That one
That'd be
seems
fun.
fun.
That'd
You
be
like
fun.
try to like narrow it down. But it's tough because I don't know if you like. Could you just do players? I don't know. We're gonna have to brainstorm on that one a little bit. We're gonna have to chat that one out. We'll dialogue.
Ricky in the chat asked, how many career home runs does he have? Edgar Renteria finished with 140 home runs. He was a 286 hitter, scored exactly 1,200 runs, had 923 ribbies, stole 294 bases, 2,327 hits.
That's pretty good, man. That's a very good Hall of Fame. That's he's in the very good. The Hall of Very Good.
32.4 WAR.
That mock turtleneck, baby. That was such a look. So clean.
That was a
clean.
Power move.
Him as a Cardinal, like, oh man. Just look good in a uniform, man. There's some guys. What a stud.
Speaking of a uniform, Blue Jays prospects Elvis.
You got it.
Or Elvis Martinez won't be wearing a Blue Jays uniform anytime soon, as Hughes was suspended 80 games today. Did we get that news today? For violating Major League Baseball's PED drug policy. 2 days
after his debut.
2 days after his debut. Insane.
I think we're going to need to go ahead and regulate a drug test before the debut, like in between the call up and the debut, because this is just embarrassing. It's embarrassing for like the franchise and like all the media to like be able to put out posts about him. The picture with him getting the ball and like his first hit and giving it to his mom, like that's all over. And then like not just 48 hours later. It's tough.
But the reasoning is interesting, or his reasoning that he provided, at least. I don't know if
I didn't see this. I didn't see this.
actually legitimate.
Fill me in.
So you haven't heard.
I have not
Okay. So I'm reading the report here. It says, in a statement, Martinez said he had spent the past 2 years trying to start a family with his girlfriend and was prescribed Rejun, Rejun, 50, a clomiphene tablet over the winter after visiting a fertility clinic in his native Dominican Republic. We wanted to keep this matter private even within our family and trusted the doctor who assured us this treatment did not include performance-enhancing drugs, Martinez said in a statement. Therefore, I made the mistake of not disclosing this to my team or the MLBPA. With that said, I took full responsibility for my negligence and accepted my suspension. I'm a fan of the responsibility. Like, I think it's a little wild to like just put all of your trust, all of your entire career into the hands of this doctor that clearly doesn't really know what he's talking about.
I genuinely don't get it though. I don't get it. And like I understand, but like the resources these guys have, the agents, like all you gotta do is shoot a text to your agent, say, hey, I need you to connect me with a doctor about something. And I may be prescribed something that's going to help an issue, but I want to make sure I'm doing this the right way. I just don't understand. There's so much at their disposal. And I feel like this is getting more normal. We're seeing this more with the younger guys. Prospects or a year or two into the league. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm getting tired of it, though. I've never heard of this kid until this, but apparently he was their like second ranked prospects, I believe, in the organization.
I think so.
Was there top or second?
Top hitting prospect, yeah. 22 years old.
Like you know you're gonna get up there. You know you're gonna have the opportunity. It's just a matter of when. Like any of these top 5 prospects are going to get an opportunity somewhere. Why are you not going through the proper channels? What more resources do you need? I get it if it's like you're the 75th ranked prospect in the organization and you know what I mean? Like you got busted down in single A. Like I don't understand with the guys that like truly have an opportunity to make a big league team. How is this not drilled into you? Just ask. Just talk to somebody in the right position.
I had to look this up because I'm sitting here wondering like why is a fertility drug or a fertility tablet.
I'm assuming it's some type of testosterone boost.
Yeah, so I looked it up. The article the link brought me to USDA.org. So we're getting it from the source here.
.org.
In men, clomiphene can alter testosterone levels by interfering with the negative feedback loop of the hypothalamic pituitary
there you go
gonadal axis. So for those of you that know what the the
old gonadal axis needs to
for those of you familiar, and I'm sure everyone listening is, the hypothalamic thalamic pituitary gonadal it's got to be gonadal sounds not right.
I'm honestly impressed. I'm impressed with this effort.
That's how it affects it. So 80 game suspension for Mr. Orelvis Martinez.
This is the most Blue Jays 2024 thing ever, by the way.
Speaking of which, Vladdy's haircut. Do you like it?
Yeah, it was time.
Yeah.
I do like it.
Looks good. It looks clean cut, man. Looks sharp. Yeah. Looks like a ball player.
Maybe this is where, like, I don't know. Do you lose your superpowers? Do you gain superpowers? We'll see.
That's to be determined, but
we'll see.
I think it was time for a change.
McCutchen is the first one that comes to mind where I'm just like, you kind of lost your superpowers a little bit.
Yeah.
But Yeah, dude. What a just I saw a comment on Twitter. I was like, that's pretty much on point. This is a disaster class. Have you've seen master class? This is a disaster class that the
Boom.
Blue Jays are putting on. It's really, 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 it's mind-boggling what's happening to that organization. I think heads are gonna roll, dude. I think heads are gonna roll. I would expect some people to be traded and some jobs to be lost pretty soon. This is ugly. I think on paper, there's a lot of people that would take a Blue Jays roster over a Red Sox roster. A lot of people. And for what the Blue Jays are doing, this is no bueno.
I'm with you. The Rickwood Field game. Let's talk about it real quick. Cardinals take down the Giants 6-5 last Thursday. A lot took place, man. There's a lot of cool stuff that happened. A lot of hard to digest things happen as well. But I think all in all, it was a very eye-opening experience.
I think we're thinking about the same thing. The Reggie Jackson Fox pregame stuff was tough, man. And
very tough.
And like I think I really applaud him for just being like that raw.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And not to cut you off, but kudos. I saw a lot of people sharing the same sentiment, but shout out to the production team. Shout out to
let him go.
The guys at the table to just let it ride and like let him, because you don't get this very often, and you're certainly running out of opportunities to hear from guys like this, because the reality of it is these guys who we idolized, whether it's be us or our parents or even our grandparents, idolized growing up, they're getting older and they're not going to be around for stuff like this much longer. So kudos to them.
Kudos to just a job well done on a lot of fronts, though. Like the field, the advertising on the walls. I don't know if you noticed that, but it was brand new advertising that's made to look aged. Like there was just a lot of finesse that went into giving us a big league ballpark without really like overdoing it. Just an excellent job of like Verducci being out and like by the original concrete wall. There's just a lot that they did really, really well. The camera, the old school camera that they went back to like the 1950s view,
the broadcast
like that. They just, I was very happy with how everything was done. I'm really, really impressed. The uniforms were on point. The fact that they had just legends walking around. Shout out to Matt, one of our guys in our fantasy league, that he was there for the game, and he's a part of a lot of what was going on of putting everything together. And he snapped pictures of guys like just a lot of different names there. Griffey coming out, Bonds being there, CC. Like it was really, really cool to see. I was really impressed.
What did you think about when they were asking Bonds about how he would do against Satchel Paige? And he was like,
I didn't see that. See that.
So, well, this was part of the pregame, and they were asking Bonds about, they were trying to open him up a little bit about the Willie Mays thing, but he just wasn't having it. And like, say what you will about Barry Bonds, like I can certainly understand how that would be just a difficult and very like quick turnaround to have to talk about something like that. Someone as close as he was to Willie Mays. Yeah. And so they're trying to like lighten the mood a little bit. And so I want to say it wasn't Griffey. was it Poppy? I think Poppy maybe asked the question about like how he would do against Satchel Paige. One of them asked how Bond, and he was immediately was just like gone. And then there's like mixed reviews on social because people are like, yeah, I mean, one of the greatest hitters of all time.
Yeah.
One of the greatest power hitters of all time. And then other people were like, we're not just talking about like, you know, Kyle Freeland here. Like no disrespect to Kyle Freeland, but like,
Yeah.
we're talking about Satchel Paige here, like one of the game's greatest players.
Yeah. I don't know.
That'd be an interesting AB. I gotta say that would be interesting.
I mean, the guy, look, like, love him or hate him, agree or disagree with what he partook, what he was partaking in, what was partaken,
what he was partoken in.
Token, I like that.
No,
dude knew how to hit, man. Dude could hit, and no disrespect to Mr. Page, but I think old Barry would have been just fine. I think I concur. My one complaint, what day was this game on? Was it Wednesday or Thursday? Thursday.
Yeah, we actually haven't recorded since it happened. That's why we're kind of pulling up the rear a little bit here. But
that's a mistake. That was a bad call. I think I understand why, because they did Thursday off Friday, and then they went back to St. Louis for Saturday and Sunday, right? So
I think so.
Treating it like it's like a 4-game set with like an off day in the middle for travel. But I would have liked to see a little bit more around this game. A little more hype. I wish I knew about it sooner. And I wish they put it on a weekend. Putting it on a Thursday is a little weird for me.
Agreed.
And like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, you didn't need the off day in the mix. Even a Friday would have been better.
Yeah, I agree.
But like, it's not like Alabama and St. Louis is that far. You're not flying across the country. Like, I think you can give these guys a back-to-back. But how cool is it that Brendan Donovan was able to pop off, man?
I saw that. Yeah, grew up
from Alabama.
Yeah, from Alabama. That was cool.
Had a good game. Like, that was cool.
I liked his comment. He said, he's like, I got some friends and family in the stands. He's like, it's like playing summer ball again. I'm like, man, that had to have been such a cool experience. Cause like the family and friends element, yeah, that's cool. But like, you combine that with the fact that you're playing like at this place you've never played at before. It has the feel of like, it just like a classic summer atmosphere for baseball. Like that was cool. That was really awesome to see. What wasn't awesome to see, however, these All-Star hats. I mean, I'm not going to say these are the worst things I've ever seen, but they might be.
They're awful.
Look, we're just leaning into the skid at this point. I know that some people's hangups that listens to us, they go like, why do you talk about like the apparel and the uniforms and the hats so much? It's like, well, like,
it's a part of it, man.
It's a part of the experience. And as you can very well
around
see,
the All-Star game, like that's
of course. Normal. And as you can very well see, like Major League Baseball thinks that it's very important too, to like make this a much greater part, or a more deeply integrated part of the game, where it's like, this isn't just a separate thing. Like, we're making the hats, the uniforms, the apparel, like we're making this part of what we're doing now. This is not just a side conversation. With that said, though,
trash.
Like, do a little better of a job, I guess. I don't know.
What is the creamsicle stuff for? I don't understand. Like, why do we have colors like a freaking ice cream truck? I think you said it best. Patrick Starr. Like, it's literally, you're sending these guys out looking like Patrick Starr
under the sea. Like, I'm not, forgive me if I'm being naive here. I'm not seeing the connection here. Like, we're rolling them out looking like salmon, like raw, like they look like sushi. You're rolling them out looking like sushi.
That's not a bad comp. That's a good comp.
There's neither of those colors have any connection to the Rangers, which that seems to, now that they've overhauled these uniforms to make them part of the actual on-field experience, like during the game, during the home run derby. In doing that, at least, like, if they're not going to let these guys wear their actual team's uniforms during the game, it's like, well, at the very least, like, we'll make it representative of the host team. They did that in Seattle. I don't know what this is. I don't think Rangers when I see this, because I'm looking at the Rangers hat right now, and that doesn't remind me of the Rangers at all. So that can't be the excuse. I don't know.
I'm lost, man. I'm lost. I don't look. I'm lucky enough to be in first place right now in the league for fantasy. And for those who don't know, first half winner gets an All-Star jersey of their pick, and I genuinely don't think I want one. I really, really don't think I do. I have no interest. If the color schemes, why would the color scheme change from the hat to the jerseys? So I have no interest in this.
Look, I mean, I say it all the time that it's not this is a democracy here. So, like, whatever the people say, like,
I'll take cash, Just give me cold hard cash, and that'll be fine.
I don't know, man. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I just don't understand. I'm hoping we get to see what the jerseys look like this week, just to know just how bad they are. But not hopeful. Not hopeful.
I need people in these positions of power to be removed.
Like, who approved this? I'm just like, I'm in such a state of helplessness with this stuff now. It's like,
it boggles me. Like, we have all of these players going outside of MLB to go find like designers to make them sick cleats. We can't talk to any of these designers. Like, it tells you how bad it is if none of these players want to wear the stuff you're giving them, and they're going outside to find different designers to, like, I don't know. I can't do it anymore. I'm losing hope in all uniforms. I really am.
Oh, last thing before we go, you mentioned you saying that reminded me. What's with the whole like mint green Yankees thing? I get it's like the Statue of Liberty, whatever. Hear me out.
I'm all done.
Hear me out. Is this like are the Yankees running a little bit of an experiment
Teaser
here to get the feedback from fans about whether or not they like this, to know whether they should proceed with possibly an at the buzzer, if you will, City Connect? Because as it stands right now, I think it's pretty clear that the Yankees don't have any intention of rolling out a City Connect.
Yeah.
But maybe they're talking with Nike going, okay, like, we'll test this out, because I haven't seen this whole mint and green thing take over until very recently, and I've seen it on Verdugo. Judge has the sleeve now. I'm going, where did this come from?
It's one thing if like there's like an accent in the batting gloves or like your cleats, but like
it's very in your face,
full on sleeve. Like it's not it. This is not a part of the uniform. It's not a part of the color scheme. I'm all done. And when you get your teeth kicked in for a week straight, Maybe we just go ahead and go back to normal. You know?
Just hey, you heard it here first. If the Yankees roll out a City Connect and it's anyway connected to the Statue of Liberty, just know that you heard it here first and that they're currently under our noses running a trial to get fan feedback.
It's a heck of a conspiracy. I like it.
I'm all about
I don't like it though. I don't like the colors. I don't like I like the conspiracy. That's it.
That's all I got.
Good stuff.
Get Jarren Duran to the All-Star game.
Get
him in the top 20. He's not even in the top 20. That's a mistake.
That just shows you what the All-Star game is.
That's all I have to say.
Posture check. I've been working on my posture lately. The chin's been pushing forward a little bit. Shoulders are trying to, I guess the ears are supposed to be over the shoulders. So for any of you that are watching this and you need a little posture check, I'm with you. It's time. I'm getting the turtle look going right now, and I don't like it anymore.
Nate's here to remind you about your posture. I'm here to remind you to drink some water. Because you listening at home or in a car, I know you don't even have to, don't even front. I know you haven't had enough water today. So don't try to convince us otherwise. Drink some water. Check your posture. You're welcome.
Love that. Don't go chasing curveball.
We love you all, and as always, we're looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.